Oh, okay. He went down very fast. That still surprises me even though my weapons are maxed out. What an absolutely pathetic fight. Absolutely garbage. And I had to make use of an exploit. And also a flash grenade. In order to make the fight bearable. What an absolutely unimaginative, uninspired, uninteresting, bare bones, basic excuse for a boss fight. Too much life, Navisador spawning out of the blue, and you have to deal with their crappy hitboxes and their absurd numbers, and if you don't have a flash grenade to stop that move where he spawns the Navisadors, it's just a mess. It is an absolute mess. And you have all those Navisadors supporting Sadler as he's coming after you. The only chance you have is to stay near that railing, because if you saw my previous video, where I showed how to glitch out Sadler, and it's incredibly easy to do because it just goes to show that New Capcom were thoroughly up their own asses when designing this pathetic excuse for a fight that doesn't feel like a fight, that they didn't even take the time to ensure that there weren't any exploits like this, but thank God there was an exploit like this. Just use the rocket launcher against him. This guy just babbles on all the time. He has some of the most annoying voice acting ever. How on earth is he even talking through that eyeball of his? He has so many crappy hitboxes, so many attacks that aren't befitting for the core designs of this game, so many fast attacks that don't complement the sluggishness of Leon's movement, given that he's the slowest Resident Evil character ever. And it's hard to believe that Krauser's knife is this effective against Sadler's eyeballs. That's absolutely insane. And even unupgraded, it feels like Krauser's knife does more damage than the shotgun when you're hitting his eyeballs. And this whole method I did with just looping his jumping animation, that's the only way you're going to stop this fake fight from being even worse than it needs to be. This fight is so little of a fight that using this jumping exploit animation is not going to change this fake fight in the slightest. I cannot believe they looked back at the original version of Resident Evil 4, saw all of the amazing designs on display with Sadler, all the sense of creativity involved with him, with the different ways you could stun him, either by shooting his eyeballs, using explosive barrels, using the crane to your advantage in order to stun him, using your own grenades. So many different ways of stunning Sadler, and this is what they settled with? Not to mention his mutation is so extreme. Why is this so extreme for the original Plaga mutations? This is so dumb. You don't see Sadler in the original version of Resident Evil 4 towering to such an absurd height. And then this phase right here. This phase. What is the point of this? Why are they just treating this like it's the realm of consciousness from Resident Evil Village? How does all this erupt from a single individual? If this was with Excella's mutation, I can understand. Because Excella not only bonded with the Ouroboros virus, albeit it was a failure, but the Ouroboros virus within her also bonded with the corpses that were piled up on the ship. Their combined biomass led to the mutation that we saw in Chapter 6-2 of Resident Evil 5, and it makes so much sense. Here, there is no sense at all, and all of these tentacles are surrounding an embryo? What is this? Am I back in the Plague Tale Requiem where this concept actually works? Why is this in a Resident Evil game? Why is this in the real world? Why is this in a Resident Evil game based around the Las Plagas? I get that they're trying to create an alternate timeline that's non-canon to the original timeline of Resident Evil, the actual canon timeline. But this is still not something you would see in the real world of Resident Evil. This is something you'd see in the realm of consciousness. Why do they have to stretch these mutations to such an extreme that doesn't make any sense? Just imagine what the mutations in Resident Evil 5 Remake will be like. And if they're not like this in Resident Evil 5 Remake, if they are doing it, and I can't believe the director of Resident Evil 5 Original, Anpo-san, directed the worst Resident Evil game ever made with this pre-alpha of a game. And he settled on this as a final mutation What the hell do you think Wesker's mutation's gonna be like? What is this? All these fucking idiots. All these fans that defend this pre-alpha of a game. And defend the way they've interpreted the mutations. Defend the way the fights are. So many of the boss fights on this game don't feel like fights. And Sadler is no exception in this case. He's so brain dead. If you want to see what he's like, check out my blind playthrough, the final part of my blind playthrough. A Resident Evil 4 remake, to see exactly what Sadler is. You already saw a bit of it, right here, with what I did against him. But it is so much worse than that. It's a nothing fight, devoid of any sense of creativity. And they applied this overblown sense of creativity to the mutation here, for no reason. Seriously, just absolutely brain dead. This entire game is, this entire development team, and this whole fight, if you want to call it a fight. I feel like I've been done dirty as a true Resident Evil player. This is the most insulting Resident Evil game I have ever played in my entire life. What the hell? What the hell did the camera turn around for? What was that? Nice super jump. Too bad you can't do that anywhere in the game, it seems. Alright, I turned off the voices so you didn't have to hear Sadler's crappy voice acting. And also this stupid end quote. I'll give you a holy body. Come on. Leon has done so much better than that. He's been a lot more imaginative with his end-liners. This is terrible. This is god-awful. I genuinely do not understand what they were trying to accomplish with this. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Oh, and also, when you are doing the jumping animation exploit, be careful not to get screwed by the auto mantle system. The auto mantle system, where Leon automatically mantles or drops down when you're sprinting towards a ledge, it is so sporadic in its detection. And the times when you do it on accident is far too extreme. It's one of the worst mechanics ever in this pre-alpha of a game, and why you can't turn it off, I don't understand. And I can't believe someone tried to defend this design. Some moron commented on the previous video and was like, pro tip, the auto mantle system only occurs when you're sprinting. And he said it to be a jerk, like he was doing with my other videos. He said it to be a smartass, as if it's entirely my fault that I get screwed by. What the hell are you talking about? There's no understanding the mindset of these dumb individuals who can't comprehend how scenarios play out when you're in the midst of combat, when you're just doing general movement throughout this pre-alpha of a game. Terrible. Absolutely garbage. Worst final boss ever made in the entire Resident Evil series.